Peace, everybody. Today's video, I want to talk about Chicago City Council approving the naming of Lakeshore Drive after a black man considered by many to be the founder of Chicago. Lakeshore Drive would now be named John Baptiste Point DuSable Lakeshore Drive to honor Chicago's first non-native settler. Let me check this out. Yeah, Lakeshore Drive is renamed to honor John Baptiste Point DuSable. And it was a lot of resistance from the Caucasian inhabitants of inner Lakeshore Drive and the Caucasian aldermans from downtown Chicago and surrounding Lincoln Park areas. They resisted the naming of Lakeshore Drive after one of the founders of Chicago, who just happened to be a black man who was considered by many to be of Haitian descent, because at one point the Midwest region of the United States was a territory associated with France and the Algonquin tribe, the Native Americans. It was called New France, But this article, Lakeshore Drive, will now be named John Baptiste Point DuSable Lakeshore Drive. They're trying to do the same thing they did with the Willis Tower, said Bryant, Chicago resident. Honestly, everyone will still call it Lakeshore Drive. See, the Caucasians are angry because this dispels the narrative that all civilization in the United States is due to a Caucasian. But we know for a fact that Chicago was a thriving city long before a Caucasian entered. The United States expanded westward from the 13 colonies after 1787, when they had something called the Ordinance of 1787, which governed the activities of the westward settlers in dealing with Indian territory. Let me get that. Ordinance of 1787. Let me get that. Also known as Ordinance of 1787, the Northwest Ordinance established a government for the Northwest Territory, outlined the process for admitting a new state to the Union, and guaranteed that newly created states will be equal to the original 13 states. Now, at this time, when these Caucasians was figuring out how they was going to travel westward in the United States, Chicago was a thriving city inhabited by DuSable, also the Potawatomi Indians, who were a member of the Algonquin Nation. 1700s. Let me get that. Hold on, let me see this ordinance. The new Northwest Ordinance. Now, the Caucasians want to claim that Chicago had no civilization, no construction, no structures. Nothing was happening until they showed up. And the Caucasians showed up, I think, around 1812, and they started a war. The War 1812 actually started in Chicago, Fort Dearborn, which was, I think, 2 blocks away from where DuSable's trading post was. DuSable's trading post was on 400 North Michigan, which is now called the Magnificent Mile. And a bridge under Michigan, Lower Michigan Bridge, is called DuSable Bridge because of Mayor Daley named it DuSable Bridge, I think. But this will bring a lot of questions, because when people come to Chicago and they have a GPS device, it will say DuSable Drive. They wanted to be called DuSable Drive, but Lori Lightfoot, he was against calling it DuSable Drive, so it still has Lakeshore Drive in there. But still, the GPS will call it John Baptiste DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And people will ask the question, who is John Baptiste DuSable? And when they ask that question, they could ask Google or Siri, and it would tell them this was the so-called first non-native settler in Chicago in the 1700s. And people would think, oh, I thought the white man established Chicago. See, this immediately defeats the narrative of white supremacy, because in the 1700s in the United States, the so-called black man was the one founding cities, establishing governments freely. And DuSable, according to my research of DuSable, he actually came down from Canada. At first he was in Michigan, and Michigan was a British colony. And what most people don't, it was a territory during the time when he came, because this was after the French Revolution, when France basically lost all of their territories in the United States, and Britain actually retrieved a lot of their territories, which Canada was retrieved, and a lot of the northern states was retrieved, because it would have fell in the hands of the westward settlers, the Caucasians. So when he was in England, when DuSable was in Michigan, the British put him in jail because they say he was a supporter of the American Revolution. And what most people don't know, the American Revolution was financed by King Louis XV from the United States, which was called New France. Watch this. Watch this. New France. Watch this. Watch this. Let me look at the images. Look at this map. Look at this map. This blue right here, this was so-called New France. This was the 13 colonies, was this red. See right here? And these idiots in this blue helped the Caucasian 13 colony slaves get free. And these so-called 13 colony Caucasians ended up taking all of this and more. Took everything. Was really Napoleon gave it to them. But DuSable was accused by the British of being a supporter because he was actually so-called French. And the narrative in the United States that they teach in United States schools is that only Caucasians was so-called French. And we saw in the movie Django that the guy, Martin Luther King, whatever his last name is, the one that was with Django, he pointed out to DiCaprio's character that Alexander Dumas was a black man who wrote the Three Musketeers. Even though he was French, he was also a black man. And it's the first time most people even found out that he was a so-called black man, one of the most famous writers of all time. But DuSable also was a so-called black Frenchman. And he was released from jail after the American Revolution was over. The British let him out of jail, and he went down through Lake Michigan, because Michigan and Illinois and Indiana are all interconnected through Lake Michigan, the Great Lakes. You see this right here? See this lake? See this lake right here? This is Lake Michigan. And right here is Michigan. Right here is Indiana. And this is Illinois. And Chicago is right here. This is Chicago. So DuSable came down right here and hit right here. This is where the Chicago River is. This is at the downtown area. This is where his trading post was, off the Chicago River that goes into Lake Michigan. And also Lakeshore Drive was a waterway that led into Lake Michigan. You see what I'm saying? So DuSable was freed, given all of his property, and he came down to Chicago, which was inhabited by the Potawatomi Indians, who were a member of the Algonquin tribe, who were allies to the French monarchy for 300 years. And he married into the royal family. He was the husband of the chief of the Potawatomi's daughter. So his children, DuSable's children, were half Indian, half black, Haitian, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call a black French person. He was a black man, and his wife was a Potawatomi. But when you look at the Potawatomi, and when you look at the Algonquin people, you will see that they were black people. Watch this. Watch this. See, this is a Pandora's box that they did not want to open. Watch this. The Algonquins. Check this out. Let me see the images. People. Let me type in the people. Because that's a city too. It's a city in Illinois called the Algonquin City. These are some of the people. Some of the pictures they have. Some of them. Let me check these pictures. That's an Algonquin member. These are Algonquin members. See what I'm saying? But the Potawatomi was just a branch. Look at this lady right here. Straight up. Look, Wanda Sykes. How do we zoom in? Bronze sculpture of American artist Estelle Lorando of the Mohawk Algonquin woman saint. See what I'm saying? The Algonquins were, oh, here you go, right here, in large. Yeah, the Algonquin people were black people. The Potawatomi people were black people who actually inhabited Chicago for several, probably thousands of years. The architecture, the infrastructure was built in not just no 20-year period. It would take more than 20 years to build one of these cathedrals in this city. You know, this city had to take at least 3,000-4,000 years to build. At least. Who is this? Algonquin languages, whatever. Who is this? Let me look at that. Who are these people? General histories. Who are these people? But let me go back. It's a particular image I'm looking for. They be scrubbing the internet. Hold on. Algonquin people. That's that lady right there. Let me go back. Look at that. Look at that. But they weren't a Caucasian people. That's some straight up Algonquins right there. Native American Algonquin rituals, ceremonies. See what I'm saying? They got the brown, darker skinned, slick hair. But the picture I'm looking for is not on here. Hold on. So many pictures. Mississippian. See, and other ancient black Americans. The Mississippians are the progenitors of all of them. The Mississippi River is named after the Mississippian people, which this lady is an ancient Mississippian. See what I'm saying? These are the real Indians right here. You see what I'm saying? Look at this. Check this out. I need to get close to this. It's the pictures. See these are the Potawatomis. How did they bring blacks to America when black Indians were already here? See what I'm saying? See, the Potawatomi would be called Negroes today. This is the picture I was looking for. What they trying to hide it? Here's the picture right here. Those are the Potawatomis. Those are the Algonquin people. And they look just like straight blacks right there. I'm talking about DuSable was a Frenchman, and these were the Potawatomi people who inhabited Chicago. Look at the clothes. Look at the design, the skill it took, the seamstry. You know, before the Pilgrim Fatherland Plymouth, we were here. See what I'm saying? But yeah, DuSable being named, Lakeshore Drive being named after Chicago is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, and this happened under Mayor Lori Lightfoot. You could tell Lori Lightfoot is an Indian, because who else would have a name Lightfoot, Blackfoot, Whitehead? Those are Indian names, and she made it. Within 2 years, we already have a street named after DuSable, which could have been done 100 years ago, 150 years ago. Hold on. But yeah, this is what I'm talking. That's what I'm reporting on today. Chicago City Council agreed to name Lakeshore Drive after one of the founding fathers, John Baptiste DuSable. And I'm gonna show something else that's interesting about Chicago. We have an entire city underground. It has 66 miles of tunnel, of underground tunnel under Chicago. What railroads? The Underground Railroad is in Chicago. Watch this. In Chicago and in Algonquin. That's crazy. That's crazy. Check this out. Look at this. Abandoned Underground Railroads in Chicago. Check that out. Abandoned Underground Railroads. How did the so-called slaves know about the Underground Railroad, which were abandoned in Chicago? Look at this old train. You could see this an old Indian train right there. Look at that. The black people had these trains probably for thousands of years. Like when they talk about Wakanda, and you saw in Wakanda what Coogler put in that movie, they had a railroad system that was going underground in that movie Wakanda. And look at this. Look at this. This Chicago secret you didn't know. Look at that right there. Wakanda is in Illinois. Underground Railroad is in Illinois. Not just Illinois, all throughout the United States. The train system is our ancient technology. Look at this. Chicago Forgotten Underground Freight System. Forgotten? It never... Look at this. Underground freight in Chicago. Look at this. Look at this architecture. It looks thousands of years old. Look at this. These incredible salt mines are like no other in the world. Look at this. Look at this. Our ancient people. Our ancient people. Look at this. Chicago's Forgotten Underground Freight Tunnels. More information. I'm not paying nothing. But look at this. Now, and people don't even hear about nothing like this. They don't talk about who built these underground cities, these underground freight systems. Where do they go? How did they get powered? And how long did it take to build 66 miles just in Chicago alone? Not talking about the ones that's in Ohio, in Michigan, Indiana, in Nebraska. Look at this. Incredible picture of Chicago abandoned freights. Let me see this. I'm not signing up, but I'm just trying to show that this whole thing with DuSable will lead to more enlightenment about the truth about this city, the truth about the people. These people right here, these are the Potawatomi people, the Algonquin people, who were the direct descendants of the Mississippian people, who what you would consider Negroes, African Americans, yet they're not from Africa. Just because you have the darker hue, the thick lips, and all of that doesn't necessarily mean you're from Africa, because the sun shines on the whole world, and the sun is the reason for our pigmentation, not the land. Because if Africa was a Iceland, you wouldn't say that land is reason for your skin. But you got a place in the North Pole where you got Eskimos with dark skin who don't even get sunlight, really, who don't even get sun, yet their skin is dark. So you can't associate the skin color with anything other than just the genetics, that they migrate there. Look at this. White immigrant, $5 Indians stole money and land. Ancient Moors in America. Check this out. Look at them long braids they got. Look at them long braids there. Look at that. Look at this right there. Check this out right there. But yeah, this what the discussion of DuSable will do. It will bring out this truth, and it will bring out the 1492 Indian, 1600 slave, 1832 Negro, 1965 black. These are all the names that they done flipped in minority, African American. Look at all that. They done changed your identity too many times. But yeah, this is just the beginning of the truth about the United States and Chicago coming out. And I'm finna do another video. They just discovered a 2,000-year-old tobacco pipe was found in Illinois yesterday, and I'm gonna talk about that in the next video. I just want to highlight these are the people that lived in the Chicago for hundreds of years before the Caucasians even knew it existed. These are the Potawatomi Algonquin people, the Ojibwe people. See what I'm saying? These are the so-called Negro. Click here to make the most out of the idea. Ancient Moors. Yeah. Look at these buildings they living in. These huge houses they got. Look at them windows. Yeah. That's about it though.